Hey everybody, welcome back. Another episode here, another video for Banish the Doubt. I am once again in this avatar suit, George McNamara. I identify as George McNamara, and I absolutely bow to the light. That is who you are. That is who you truly are, all of us. I want to start this off by asking you a question. If you believed, truly, truly believed that you could manifest anything in this life, the time that you were here, would you do it? Of course, now, if it meant perfect health and you're maybe going through a health issue right now, um, a wonderful romance, one that you just knew it, and the other person, you just came together and you just knew you were in the perfect romance, perfect relationship, the perfect business or job. Never have to worry about money again. Would it be possible? Would you truly do it? Could you do it? Could you live that life? I'm here to tell you that thinking that, stopping and just being in this moment right now and telling yourself, I am living that life right now, is the easiest thing to do. The hardest thing to do is going to that spot, going to that place, like Neville said, and then staying there when our senses tell us otherwise. But everywhere around us, we see examples of exactly that. A person who did that and stayed there, and the universe bent to their wishes, and exactly what it was that they wanted came true. Or you see, it's not about coming true. It's not about dreams becoming true. That's what we're led to believe. That's what advertising says. Wish upon a star, right? It's not about wishing upon stars. It's not about any of it. It's about going to that place where money is never an issue ever again, and then staying there, but putting the action behind it. That, and staying there when you're doing whatever the action is, you're you're living, if you will, day to day, but your mind is there at that spot. I'm living this life when all around you says otherwise. That is what Wallace Waddles said in the book, The Science of Getting Rich, said is the hardest thing to do because we've been so conditioned to be I don't want to say manipulated, but to be swayed by external circumstances. We say things like, I am living a life where money is not an issue. Money comes to me easily and effortlessly. And then something else happens at work. We get demoted, we get let go, whatever. And we say, see, this thing doesn't work. We talk about health and we go to the doctors and we say, hey, something's going on. Or you step on the scale and you're 3 pounds heavier than you thought you would be. Um, or you're in that relationship and you find out the person you're with had an affair and you say, see, these things don't work, whatever it may be. But I'm here to tell you that when you do this, when you put your mind on, the universe always works out in my favor. Everything is always oriented towards my favor. I never have to worry about anything. All I do is put myself, my mind in that place. Things happen. I'll give you an example. So, about a year ago, I was working another job and there's some challenges financially in my life. But I kept saying, this will pass. The universe is working on my behalf. Everything works out for me. The universe always orients itself in my favor. Always, everything always works out. I am letting go of whatever financial situation is taking place. It's not who I am. It's the old thinking that is where I'm at today. It's not my thinking now because nothing is anything other than now. And how I think and how I feel now will materialize in ways that I do not control. There is no such thing as control. It's just having the awareness. Yes, everything works out for me. My life is always working out for me, irregardless of whatever my senses say. So I'm doing that. And all of a sudden, a text message came through from somebody else and said, hey, didn't you used to do landscaping? Yeah, years ago. Well, there's an opportunity for a landscaping position. And I'm thinking, all right, I'm going to apply. Why? Because I'm not going to control whatever this opportunity is. I'm not going to try to predict an opportunity or anything. I'm like, sure, I'll put my resume up and go apply. During the application process, the um, the person who handles the recruiter contacted me and said, hey, we have your resume. We really like it. And you're way overqualified for the position that we were looking for. However, there is another opportunity, another position that comes with a much larger salary, a vehicle, 3 weeks vacation, stock in the company, full coverage and benefits. We'd love for you to, maybe you'd like to apply for that. Sure. Okay, we'll have the other person, the regional vice president, contact you. Great. Ended up getting the position. What I'm saying is, did it have to do with what I did before? Yes. But it was my thinking, my holding true. And believe me, it wasn't a straight line. It was kind of like this. There were times when I was thinking, is this, is this going to work out? Not the job part, the financial part. But whenever it would happen, I would catch myself and say, George, that's the old thinking. Go back, stay true to your new thinking, where you are now. This is who you are now. And I would watch videos from YouTube of other people, and I would surround myself with, encompass myself with those voices, that thinking, to remind me this is how you think, this is what you do, this is how you think. My son was in a school, and again, another text message came. Hey, there's an opportunity for him to go next year to this other school. And it's a very sought after school, one that another person had to applied and had to be interviewed multiple times. And they said, hey, would your son like to go to this school? And I said, I think so. Let me find out. And I asked him, he said, yeah, sure. Boom. We went in, talked to the people. I signed some papers, and he's going to the school. And again, tell him the same thing. You're in a now moment. In this now moment, everything works out for me. I am exactly where I want to be. The universe always works out in my favor. God, source energy, whatever it may be. Let me read you a quote from Dr. Joe Dispenza that helps to sort of um, underscore this a little bit. Okay, he says this: our body is so objective that it does not know the difference between the real life experience that is creating the experience and the emotion that we are fabricating by thought alone. To the body, it's exactly the same. So again, our body is so objective that it does not know the difference between the real life experience that is creating this experience and the emotion that we are fabricating by thought alone. So to our body's going to react to whatever we're thinking. So if we are thinking, we are reminding ourselves, we have this awareness that everything works in my favor, that relationship, I am living the relationship now. I am with that person now. I am in that, I have that promotion at the job. I'm very successful at my business. To the body, our bodies are going to react to whatever the dominating thought is. And it's okay if early on the old thinking wants to pull us away from, yeah, but these things never work. You see, we've been conditioned to believe, let's say a business, for instance, 7 out of 10 businesses that start up usually fall apart because it's so difficult today in this environment for businesses to succeed. If that's the thought that we give into, then your business is doomed to fail. It's not going to succeed. We see the business as successful. There is no, I can remember when I was, I think I was in real estate or something, and I talked to somebody who was a medium, and I wasn't actually talking to her like it was in a session. I just happened to be talking to her and just sort of in passing, and she said, "You never have to call any leads." I said, "Well, that's how you." She said, "No, you just who you are, the people will come to you. Just put yourself out there, see yourself with the people calling you, or it just manifests itself." What I'm saying is that we're conditioned to say, oh, you gotta call 1,000 people a day, to get your business started. You can call the people, but it's not the mentality or the mindset of, oh, I've got to call 1,000 people to get two to say yes. The mindset is people say yes to me. People are, they're there. I already have a successful business, whatever it may be. You see, everything is finished. Creation is finished. Your relationship is already there. You could not desire it if it wasn't already there. The successful business is already there. You couldn't desire it if it wasn't already there. We just can't see it with our senses because we've been conditioned to not see it. Once we are changing our awareness, changing the mindset, changing the way we talk to ourselves, nobody else, it has nothing to do with when you talk to anybody. Because how you talk to anybody, the words you use, the thoughts you have that create the words that we use here to here, comes from the belief of who you say you are. How you perceive yourself creates the thought, the mindset, the self-perception, the self-image that then translates into audible words that we use. It's like the old saying, your actions speak so loudly, I can't hear what you're saying. You've been around people where you're just like, wow, there's something about that person, right? There's just something about them. They're confident, the way they carry themselves. It's because they have this perception of themselves. Let me take you back to that job. So when I was interviewed, one of the managers who I oversee said to me just recently, he said, George, I saw you come in to the job interview, and I had no idea who he was at the time. He said, but I went over to the guy interviewing you and said, that guy right there, hire him, something about him. I like him. You see, we can't see it, right? I want to prove this to you. This is how I'm going to prove it to you. Think of somebody you know, okay? Now think of that same person, you know their parents, and who are they like? You right now, you just said to yourself, oh yeah, they're just like. Now tell that person that they're just like that father or mother. And I will almost guarantee you that person will say, I'm not like them. You can see it. Others like, yeah, it's you. Oh, that's right. Yeah, she is just like, or he is just like. They can't see it. You see? Because we can't see it, because we have this like veil, right, in front of us. Another example is you walk into a room, you see somebody, and they're not, you could just see, and how many times have we said this? Something's wrong. And they say, no, I'm fine, I'm fine. You say, no, 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 something's wrong. What's wrong? You don't even say, well, something, you say, what's wrong? Because you know, you can feel the energy, right? What's wrong? Nothing. No, no, come on, tell me what's wrong. No, I'm telling you, I know something's wrong. I can feel it. This is what I'm talking about. When you are in that frame of mind, when you have that energy about you, you don't have to say anything. It just comes out. This is why you don't have to say or do anything to manifest. But we've been so conditioned to say, oh no, you have to work hard, you have to struggle, you have to grind, you have to get out there. Yes, put action, but it's action. It's not force. Okay? Just like water. Water will just find the least the it will just make its way. It doesn't force anything, it just flows, right? Same thing with you and I. There's no force, there's just flow. So when you are aligned with who you truly are, with what speaks to you inside. And I've heard people 20 years in the medical industry, attorneys, psychiatrists, accountants, just do a quick 180 and say, yeah, I've forced myself to do this. And I know because my father did it, my mother did it. That's with the family or, business. How many times have we seen a business where a sibling takes over and it crumbles because it's just not who they are, but they had to follow the family business, right? So I'm saying, so it's powerful, but it's not forceful. When you are following who you truly are, you become powerful. People can feel the power, but not in an egoic sense. You have this knowing, this presence about you, because it's who you are that speaks so loudly, that comes from inside here. That's why I bow to the light that's inside of you. When you align with that, when you are true to who that is, you shine so bright because it's true to who you are. I've often heard it said we were all like lighthouses looking for our light, right? We're looking out. We're broadcasting out. I'm looking over there. I'm looking over there. I'm talking to that person. I'm talking to this person. I'm calling these leads. I'm going to this medium. And I'm going to this psychiatrist. And I'm going to this hypnotist. I'm going on Shark Tank. I'm going on whatever it may be. I'll tell you a quick story and I'll end this. Actually, two stories have to do with Shark Tank. The first one is one of the founders of Shark Tank. You may have heard, if you're not new to my channel, you may have heard the story before. He had what we would consider it. He had made it, right? He had all kinds of success. And he admitted himself, he said, I was literally days away from ending everything because a relationship fell apart. Because he was forcing things. He said it himself, he was forcing all of that. He wasn't allowing things to just flow. Second story has to do around Shark Tank. I knew a couple of guys who had a business who went on that program. And together they had worked very diligently to build the business up to the point where they were going to the panel to look for somebody to invest in the company. One of the panelists, only one, said, okay, I'll make you an offer. The rest of them said no. And my friends and the panelists agreed. Now here's what happened. So in the video that I watched, the two that I know were walking off stage. They couldn't hear the panelist. They couldn't hear the panelist say, and the other panelists were shaking hands saying, hey, congratulations, you got to deal with them. He then says, yeah, I can make those two. They'll do my grunt work. So what they were doing in that moment was saying unknowingly, unconsciously, here, take our business. It didn't work out. They didn't settle. They walked away from each other, say thanks, but this is not going to work out, fortunately. But what they were saying was, our business is we're not enough. We need to go outside of us in order to get somebody else to come in and take over our business. They didn't know it, but fortunately, fortunately for them, it worked out where it didn't work out. See what I'm saying? You are enough. Just by who you are enough. When you're true to whatever that is and whatever you're doing, even if it is who you truly are, then great. And if it's not, find what it is that just you don't have to tell anybody. They can see it. Not say you're looking for them, but it's just you know who you are. And this is maybe some of the hardest work you'll ever do in your life. Go to that place, stay there. When the world goes a little sideways, hold true to that. That's just the old thinking. It's just the universe maybe testing you. When you hold true to who you are and you put forth the action, irregardless of, and you have no worry or no concern about the outcome. The outcome is already guaranteed. That goes against all the programming. As long as you are holding true to who you are and you're doing whatever it is you want to do because you're passionate about it, doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with the outside world. But you will have opened up the floodgates. And the success is yours. It could be no other way. Because when you force the success, at some point that success is empty. You'll never get enough because it's fake. It's not authentic. One quick story, and then this is at the end of the video. I was in the real estate business, and I can remember I was with a certain brokerage. The broker said at a gathering on stage, when he was starting out, he went to this person's house, there's a couple, and he talked them into selling their house. He said when he left their driveway, by the time he got back to the office, his secretary said that they changed their mind. He said, well, I then turned around, went back to their house and had to resell them on selling their house. And I knew right there, like, it's not right. You're forcing someone to do something it's not natural. It has to be this. not this. What he's doing was this. It's never enough. They eventually sold the house, but it's not enough. There's never going to be enough money because it's about the money. I want to say it again. It can never be about the money because if it is, there's never enough of it. It's never about the applause because if it is, then there's just not enough applause. It's not about what the world thinks because if it is, whatever the world thinks is not enough. It must and always is about whatever is true to you. And only you can answer that. But the hardest work is staying true to that when everything in the senses around you say otherwise. You and only you know when that light, when you are aligned with that light. And when you are, then the world says yes. It's never about the money. The money will come. Never about, it's never about anything other than being true to who you are. The peace, the love, the satisfaction, all of that is wonderful, but it's never about that. That's the hardest thing to do. Stay true to who you are, and everything else will follow suit. Have a great day.